Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ultra Everything with the Emerald Estate Group. I'm your host, Thomas Mestis, and today we have a special treat. There's somebody that I look up to, somebody that's doing amazing things. Not only is she a super mom, superstar, but she is a super amazing businesswoman, admired by so many of her employees, and we're super excited to have her today at Ultra Everything. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Ashlee Andrews.
Thanks, Tom.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I was actually pretty excited. My wife and I were talking, and I was asking her some questions. She's like, I don't know. She's like, that'd be a good question for you to ask her. So I was like, this is going to be awesome. So I'm super excited. So basically, we wanted to tell the audience, like, what is it that you do exactly? So
I'm a veterinarian, and I'm the owner of Los Sueños Veterinary Group, and it's a group of locally owned veterinary practices, and I'm the sole owner. It's just me for now, and I was born and raised here in New Mexico. So I started off with a house call practice that actually your wife helps us in, and that was back in about 2015-16, and then added the first brick and mortar veterinary clinic in 2017. In 2018, purchased another veterinary clinic. Another about a year and a half ago, and then we opened an emergency clinic last March 14th of 2022, and then we're in the process of purchasing our 6th practice. So we have veterinary practices and emergency clinics, and that's really...
You say it so nonchalantly, like this is what we did, because you were talking like from 2017 to today, which is, if we all do math well, that's like 6-year time span.
Right.
So you went from no brick and mortar, no practice, other than you were a mobile vet?
Right, a house call practice.
House call practice.
Yeah.
To bricks and mortar, to like uber successful, like #1 veterinary, like non-massive corporate, like giant, just a single mom and pop kind of thing, right? Just kind of doing the practice, and that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it started off small, and our first employee was actually another vet, and we would go around and do house calls. We rented a little office space. It was like 300 square feet to keep our supplies in. We'd sit on the floor and type records, and then we eventually realized we needed a little bit more space, so it just grew from there.
That's amazing. So now you say it like just like this is what we did and this is how we did it, but on top of that, you are a mother, a very attentive mother that is very involved in your children. And now it's not like your kids are like up and grown and they're all like all this age. It's like you have a wide span of children.
Yes, there's 6 of them, and the oldest is 22 and the youngest is 7. And the youngest 5 are really close in age. So one is just graduated from college, and the youngest is in 2nd grade. So
well, congratulations. That's an amazing feat too.
Thank you.
So definitely a super mom, super businesswoman. And I know that I've met a lot of the people that work for you and your team, and they all think highly of you. So tell me about your secret. Like, what's the secret to your success? Because it's not like I just had this idea and I work and things happen. I mean, there's a lot to it. It's not just you going out and being a vet. It's you going out and you're in the people business. It's not just the vet business. So tell me a little bit about the secret to your success at this point so far, to grow so rapidly.
I think you just have to love what you do. And, you know, when I started all of this, when I started the house call practice, I was a single mom of 6 kids. And so I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew it had to be good, and I knew I needed the right people on board with me. And so that's really been it, is we're a values-based practice. So everything we do is, does this align with our values? Does this potential employee align with our values? Does this decision align with our values? And it's really just snowballed from there, but it makes it really easy as far as work, because, you know, sometimes when you're making a decision, it just comes back to, does this align with our values? And if yes, we do it, and if no, it doesn't. And when we purchase a new practice, does this feel like it fits in with our values? And really our goal is just to have the right people on board with us, and then to serve our community. And I love what I do. I've wanted to be a vet since I was 8 years old, and
That's awesome.
A lot of people think, you know, they know what they want to be. You know, all little kids want to be a professional athlete. A lot end up not doing that, but really I knew that that's what I wanted to do, and I didn't waver from it much. My senior year in high school, went and spent some time at the emergency room, the human ER, and was like, that is not what I want to do. So I solidified that the vet field was what I wanted to do, and really it's been a great career, and I do it all again in a minute.
That's awesome. So you were born and raised in New Mexico.
Yep, born here and raised here in Albuquerque.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to Albuquerque Academy grades 9 through 12.
Nice.
I went to actually middle school right by where I live now, and then went to Albuquerque Academy for high school, and then went to UNM for college.
Which middle school?
Taylor Middle School.
I went to Taylor as well.
Did you? Yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you grew up in the Valley.
I grew up on the west side, but then the only
right.
middle school for
Yeah.
the west side was Taylor, so we all bussed across the river.
Yeah.
And then went to Academy for high school, and then UNM. So yeah, born and raised.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So and then now you're in the Valley again. So
In the Valley again, yeah.
we're neighbors. It's kind of funny. On my way this morning out, there were 3 coyotes running through my neighborhood, and they're pretty impressive animals,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
So, but they were out today, so we were like, "Oh, where's the cat? Where's the dog?"
Yeah.
So awesome. So tell me about your family a little bit. Tell me about. So obviously, there's the business woman, Ashlee, and then there's the mom, Ashlee. So tell me, like, how do you balance it all?
I feel like at times I am more heavy on work, and times I'm more heavy on family, just depending how the balance is going at any given point. I always say to all of our employees, your kids only have one mom or one dad, but there's tons of good vets in town. And so if there's ever a school event or the kids are sick, then the priority goes to being a mom or a dad. And
Sure.
I'm the only parent my kids have in the state. And so the bulk of my attention is on them, but definitely my employees matter a lot to me too, and our businesses do. And so there's times when the kids have had many late nights doing homework in the vet clinics, and many times where they've gone in on the weekend to do things, and
Sure.
they kind of grew up there, as I think happens in a family business, where a lot of times they're integrated into it too.
Absolutely. I mean, for myself, that's how my family's been around it now. The younger ones are fortunate to have not done it as much as the older ones, because now you have the older ones to kind of watch them a little
Right.
bit. But there's some late nights, and it's interesting because most of the people that work around us and our team, they don't see the things that we do as entrepreneurs,
Right.
as business owners. They don't know the late nights when you get a phone call from the alarm company
Yeah.
that your place is being broken into at 3 o'clock in the morning, and
Right.
you got to figure that out. So it's pretty
And the number of
interesting.
times you get a call and an employee needs to discuss an issue that's urgent and things. And so, there's times when I've been at soccer games on the phone with a work situation. There are times I have to leave work because one of the kids is sick. So it's all just a balance and
Sure.
a give and take. And the kids understand that work's important, and, hopefully it's teaching them a good work ethic. And then work understands that family's important. And we're fortunate that we have a very family-friendly workplace where most people, if they have an emergency, know that they need to be with their family.
That's super important. We definitely follow that philosophy at our company as well. So when we get back, we're going to take a quick break. But when we get back, I really want to talk to you what you think about work-life balance, because as an entrepreneur, I think they're either going to be skewed either way, right? That's what we got to talk about. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with Ashlee Andrews with Los Sueños Veterinary Group. So. All right, we are back. Ultra Everything with Ashlee Andrews with Los Sueños Veterinary Group. So we're super excited. Before we left, we talked about like work-life balance, and it's kind of interesting because I have this conversation with a lot of people, and probably like you, when I go to events that are real estate related type events, most people are like, "Oh, aren't you sick of talking about this?" It's like, never. Like, this is what I do. This is what I love. This is what I obsess about. Like, this is what I wake up in the morning thinking. This is what I go to bed at night thinking. Like, how do we do that? Like, so that work-life balance, it's kind of like telling a 5-year-old, like, "Hey, you've been playing on the playground too long. Like, come in for the day. Like, aren't you tired of doing this? Don't you want to just relax?" And I have always kind of been like, this is what I get to do. Like, I get to do
Right.
this. And 20 years ago when I started my business, I dreamt of everything that I get to do today. So to me, it's like absolutely amazing. So I love that. So like talk to me about what you feel like work-life balance is to you and what that means to you. So I guess, do you feel, here's the question, do you feel there is such a thing as work-life balance when you're in the grind trying to grow your business?
I do, and I think that to me, work-life balance means that you can give a little bit on either side when you need to, and part of it is kind of conditioning those around you to know what's needed as well. And I think it's really important that employees know that there's going to be times where you're focused on something that may not be working on one project, it's on something else. And with kids, there's times when I can't do something for 5 minutes because I have to take a work call. But then there's times when they need me there and 100% I'm focused, I'm at their play, I'm watching them, my phone's off. And I think that that's it. But there's times when I'm working on a project and I'm up till 2, 3 in the morning because I just want to get it done or I'm so excited. And
Sure.
I think like you, it's that excitement that drives you, that I wake up almost every day excited about what I do. And so I think that, you know, thinking I need this many hours of pleasure and this many hours of rest is definitely not how I see work-life balance. It's not like I only work some. I work almost all the time.
Yeah.
But when somebody else needs something in my life, I've gotten better about saying, hey, I need to put my phone down for 5 minutes. Because there was a time where I was pretty much a workaholic, and I think that you start to see that that's not super healthy either.
Sure.
But you have to really realize that when people need you, they need you. But part of what driven people do is they tend to work more hours and think about it and make connections, and sort of the work never stops. At least up here, it never stops.
It never stops. I get that. It's funny. I was at a kind of a retreat for entrepreneurs. I was in the Bahamas, and one of the gentlemen was talking about, like, he was like, oh, I sleep great, and it was like the record player went scratch, and it was like, all, you sleep great, what? And we're like, what's the secret? And he gave us like the secret, like what he does. And it was the most amazing thing. Everyone's like around and they're like, he's like, take this is what I do, like before, you know, because everyone like takes care of themselves for the most part.
Right.
Especially if you're performing at a high level. I think we all realize that we have to try to eat healthier. You need to take care of your body. You need to work out. You need to do all these things. But sleep is one of the things that I think we all lack because we are so driven every single day.
Right.
But we don't know how to shut it off. And at night, when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're like, please don't think, please don't think, please don't think. And then you're like, damn it. Okay,
Right.
I've had the thought, and now it goes like down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
How many times does that happen to you?
That happens a lot, and I think as a parent that happens too, where you wake up and think of something or something you need to do, and then it just kind of comes from all sides. But yeah, I think you're right. But I think part of it with work-life balance is loving what you do. It doesn't even feel like work. And sometimes I forget I'm working. And we always say at work, if you're sitting outside feeling like, oh, I'm going to will myself to come in, you need to tell us because you're probably not in the right place, or
Sure.
we need to do something to change that.
Sure.
And I think for a lot of young people that think about work-life balance, it's, oh, I only want to work so many hours. Sometimes it's just you need to get a different job, because if you're doing what you love, it doesn't always feel like work, then it can feel really different too.
It can. And I think a lot of times especially in today's society, is a lot of people don't feel like they're making an impact so quickly. But an overnight success has been taken, like, if you think about it, like, you have a very amazing story where you grew your business from 2017 to today. But that's not where you started.
No.
You didn't start 2017. You started years prior.
Right.
And tell me about when you got licensed. How long have you been in a veterinary practice?
I've been
or
out
in a
as I've been
business?
a vet for almost 18 years to the day. So I finished vet school in May 2005, and before that I cleaned kennels in the emergency clinic. I walked dogs. I did laundry, all the jobs that weren't glamorous.
Sure.
And excuse me, that's where most people start. And you know, then you start off working in somebody else's practice, and you work the hours they tell you, and you work the shifts that are available, and that's where most people start.
Sure. I think that's amazing. That's probably speaks to your success so early on, is that you have the opportunity that you were in that area very, very recently. So you know what your team is going through at different things, and I think that's important to understand that they have lives, that they have all these things. This is something that they do, and they're not necessarily going to be as committed as you are,
Right.
But they can have fulfillment. And I think one of the nice things that I've seen when your practice is that you do include and do a lot of family events to bring the whole family together, so they can
Right.
say, hey, this is what mom and dad does, but this is the group that they work with, and it's not just like all this thing that takes them away from all the time. So it
Right.
takes the family away.
Well, and we want to know, I think that builds a bond among your coworkers, is if the kids get to come and the spouses and other family members, the parents come, and people see where their kids work and you get to know them on a different level.
Sure.
That really adds a different element to work, where it does feel more like a healthy work family and not just a place you go to clock in and clock out. And
Yeah, no, that's absolutely important. And that's very similar to what real estate has been for us over the last 20 years, is really including the family to see that. In fact, my daughter, just the last few months, has actually joined our team and now is working in our company.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty exciting. And that kid knows how to work. Like she's a hard worker, so I'm super excited that happened.
She had a good role model.
She's had a crazy role model, right? Like she's like, "What are we doing today, Dad?" All right. We have certain questions that we have, and I'm very bad at asking, like following cue cards. So I'm gonna just take a second here. But tell me about your 6 children, different age groups from 7 to 22. One just graduated. Tell me about your family, if you would like to talk about that.
Sure, yeah. So my oldest daughter is 22, and she was adopted from Africa when she was 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
And she was actually not the first child we had. We had 2 children, adopted 2 children, and had 2 more. So she's, my oldest is 22, just graduated from college, and she's going to be a middle school English teacher. And so we're really proud of her. She's worked really hard. And my second oldest is 15. And then the next 2 are both 13. There's 2 13-year-olds,
Oh, wow.
one adopted, one biological, and then a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. So really there's a bunch from 7 to 15. There's a whole bunch in that span. So they're fun. They keep me busy for sure. And we're full on with a house full of teenagers. So
Oh, wow.
I'm sure you can relate to that.
I can relate to that, and that's I'm very fortunate. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, daughters," because I've got 3 daughters, and they're teenagers. They're like, "How is that?" I'm like, "Actually, they're pretty amazing."
Yeah.
Like, I'm very blessed, and I think a lot of it comes from us being busy and letting them become and grow into themselves a little bit with the guidance from us,
Right.
and obviously cheering them on. It's so hard to grow up right now, like with all the pressures that are going on. But I think to keep them grounded is one of the biggest things, and being there for them, even though we're busy, they always know that they can count on us.
Right.
I think has been important.
Yeah, and when they need something, you're there no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So do you get help? Do the older kids help take care of the little ones now a little bit more?
They do, but they're busy in sports and activities too. So when they're home, like yesterday, we spent 4.5 hours at the soccer field. And so one of the older ones was helping make lunch for one of the younger ones because we didn't expect to be there for so long. And so they're helpful, and they, the bond between them, I'm sure it's this way with your kids too, is sweet sometimes. And it's fun to see those bonds develop.
Till they get annoyed with each other?
Yeah, but they're busy, but they do have fun when they're together too. And seeing that relationship grow between them as they get older has been really fun.
What's been interesting is I think now that my oldest has moved out, one of the great things is they become closer, because I don't think that they were all very different personalities, so they were all butting heads, and it was so funny because I noticed that anytime that we added an extra person in, so we have 3 children and then my wife and I, and anytime there was 5 of us, there was conflict, but you take one of them out, it doesn't matter, any one of them out, and it was like smooth sailing. So it's like removing one was good. And I don't know what that dynamic was, but do you experience that with 6?
Yes, in mine there's certain ones, if you remove, there's a lot less conflict because they're sort of the pot stirrers, but definitely it feels like I hardly have any kids when I only have 2 or 3. If some are at sleepovers, it's funny. It's like, wow, it's so empty in here.
So quiet.
Yeah.
You're like, what are they doing?
Yeah. I'm so used to having so many. And at this age, as I'm sure you know too, a lot of times they have friends over. So even though there's 5 living at home, the oldest one's moved out, a lot of times there's friends, so there's actually like 9. And so they start to multiply.
That's funny. So one of the last things before we kind of get into some of the final stuff here, I want to know a little bit more about like what your business is, because in that amount of time, like it just blows my mind how fast that your business has grown, and I'm seeing them pop up, and there's a beautiful building being built over off of University. That's
Right.
brand new construction. My wife, we passed by one of our offices the other day, and she's like, "Oh, that building was purchased as well, and that's going to be a clinic." And it's just like what you have on the horizon, and it's not just like reactionary where you're like, "I like to do this." it's very methodical and planned out, and it's like we need to do this in order to accomplish this next goal. And I think that, for anybody watching today, it's like, where do I start? I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to learn. I want to figure things out. I think the number one thing that I've learned by engaging with other entrepreneurs is you've got to take massive action. And how you started in 2017 to today, I'm assuming there's a massive amount of action to get the ball moving to where you are today.
Right. Yeah, and I think that that's it. You just have to work hard and take some risk, and risk is scary. When I opened my house call practice, I took out a loan for $10,000, and that felt really scary. I still have that $10,000 bank statement, and when you're taking out, you've had like a car payment, but the first thing you take a loan on is $10,000, it feels like a lot. And then when I bought this brick and mortar clinic and your loan's over $1 million, it feels kind of horrifying. But you have to have faith in yourself and then just work really hard, knowing that you're going to be able to do it. But yeah, you have to take some risk to kind of get the ball rolling.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's what I think most people are afraid to take that initial step. It's every year, every January 1st, I jump into cold water. And it's like, if I just put my toe in, it's going to be miserable.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to you just got to go for it, right? You just got to jump in there and you got to okay, I'm going to figure it out. So one of the favorite things that one of my favorite sayings is commit first and figure out later. Do you live by that philosophy? Commit first and figure out later? Do you figure it out through the process, or do you think you all have it all figured out before you go to the next level?
Oh, I definitely don't have it all figured out. With our emergency clinic, we committed to it, and then we had some regrets along the way. But we were committed to the idea and had hired the staff, so we thought, okay, now we got to figure it out. And I think that's true. Once you have an idea and you've set your mind to something, you have to go for it. You can't back out, because there'll be plenty of times where you think, oh, I made the wrong decision.
Sure. You question yourself.
And that's true of a relationship, that's true of parenthood, that's true of a lot of things.
It is. It's true about life in general, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can't do that. So, all right. Well, I definitely am amazed in everything that you do. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with Ashlee, and we're going to play a little game.
Okay.
When we come back, all right?
Sounds good.
All right. All right, we are back. Thank you for continuing your joining us today. So before we get into, we got a really funny game to play, and we're going to kind of set you up a little bit, because this is probably going to be a really hard game. I don't know. Thanks, Yasmin. Thank you for picking this. But number one, what's on the horizon for you when we talk ultra everything? What is the big plan? What is for Ashlee in the next 10 years? What are you going to accomplish in Albuquerque other than world domination, New Mexico domination?
10 years, that's a big goal. I think the goal for the short term, for the next year, we're just going to stabilize. We've had a lot of growth and development, and I always figure there's kind of growth years, and then there's years where you just kind of smooth sail and work out the kinks. So that's definitely what we have this next year. After that, we're just going to have to see, and again, just see what's a good fit for our practices.
Sure.
We may acquire more if it feels right. We're looking at potentially selling a percentage of my ownership to some of our associates who are really committed.
That's
that way
awesome.
they can have a piece of the pie, because
Sure.
that's a big part of our work philosophy too, is that others who actually care about the company like you can actually have a part of the company.
That's awesome.
And so we're trying to see how that looks moving forward too.
That's super cool. No, that's awesome, and it's like, sharing your success with others that attribute to that. So I think that is a huge thing, and that's very cool. I know that like I said before, the people that I know that work with you just love you, and they just love working for you. So that's awesome, working for a company that cares. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about a game now, and I'm sorry, because she came up with the game, and I think it's going to be really tough. So we're going to look at the screen over here,
Okay.
and the rules of the game are simple. You got to identify as many of these animals close-ups as you can, and we're going to show them out here. We're going to try to do it as quick as possible. So I've got all the answers, but we're going to have, how many of these do we have? We have a total of 20.
Do I just keep guessing until I'm right, or I get one guess?
I don't know. I think
One guess.
one guess,
Okay.
that's it, and we're going to go to the next one? Okay. All right. So I think, there we go.
Cat.
Good job. Okay.
I feel like that's a cat too. Oh, but it maybe rabbit?
Okay. Next. Didn't get that one. That was a guinea pig.
That's a horse.
Horsetail.
Tail.
Okay.
not
Yep.
a horse. That's a dog's eye.
Oh, way to go. All right. Next one.
That's a gecko's tail.
Gecko. Chameleon. Judges. Is that going to be close enough?
Some kind of lizard.
It's a lizard. Chameleon.
A lizardish.
It's a chameleon.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's a snake close up.
Yep. Snake scales.
That is a pig nose.
It's a cow snout.
Okay.
All right. These are hard.
That's some little rodent hands. Maybe I'm going to say it's a gerbil, but it could be a hamster.
It's a hamster. You get it right. All right.
Oh. A hermit crab? I don't know.
That
It's
is
disturbing.
a thorny devil.
Okay. Never treated one of those.
Oh, this one's going to be hard.
I feel like this is not something I see in the vet clinic. It's like a wild boar or something.
A capybara?
Yeah, we don't see
No?
those here.
All right.
That's a bird beak.
What kind of bird?
Kind of a point, maybe a parakeet?
Canary.
Okay.
Okay. Good job. You're doing good on this, actually.
That's an ear of a chinchilla.
Oh, solid.
Is that-
All right. Yep. You got it.
Oh, maybe a spider leg?
What kind of spider?
I don't know.
Tarantula.
Yeah, okay. I'm not a spider vet. That's a foot of a chicken.
There you go.
I don't see those in vet practice either. That's like ears of a red panda or some kind of
That's actually a
zoo
ferret.
animal. Oh, it's
That's
a ferret?
Yep.
Ooh. That's a foot of some kind of lizard.
Turtle.
Okay.
It's a claw.
I don't even know what body part that is. Got a rabbit butt?
There you go. There you go. Rabbit butt. Tail.
Oh, that's hard too.
I don't even-
Head of a sleeping wolf.
Sugar glider.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, more little rodent feet. Feet of a
You already said hamster.
gerbil.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. And the final one.
That's porcupine.
Hedgehog.
Okay.
Nice.
Spines.
Good job. Well, that's pretty good. Well, a lot of it's stuff you don't actually see. So,
Right,
so
yeah.
that was pretty good. That was pretty solid.
Or I don't
So
see it that close anyway.
You don't see it that close.
I don't hold it that close to my face.
So how do people find you?
So we have a website, losueñosveterinarygroup.com, that lists all of our practices. And then we have just different, we have Eubank Animal Clinic, Blue Cross Animal Clinic, Rio Bravo Veterinary Hospital, ABQ Mobile Vet, and Roadrunner Veterinary Emergency in Albuquerque. So
Nice, nice.
you can find us at any of them.
You're going to be able to find it here too. We'll have the links. We'll post all the links. Thank you so much for joining us today, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, Ashlee.
you.
I was so excited to have you here. So,
Thanks for having me.
And I wish you massive continued success for not only you and your team, but just in general in life. And so thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. That concludes our show today. Super amazing. Again, if you are seeing people that are doing amazing things like Ashlee is, reach out to us, DM us, follow us on social media, and we will see you in the next show of Alter Everything with the M Real Estate Group.